Money does funny things, doesn't it? So, like, let's talk about that with the Padres and the Mets, where both teams were good last year. Again, the Padres underperformed, but then they went on that surge in the playoffs. You could see, oh, wait, you can see what they're made of. The Mets had an excellent season. They were correct me if I'm wrong. They were
until the end.
Right, we're talking the bitter end, and then they lose in the playoffs. And look, half the teams are going to lose in the playoffs in the first round.
But also that last week in September against the Braves.
Against the Braves, who are also an excellent team, right? They won 101 games. But week to week, John, I saw the Mets being like, this is a sharp baseball team. This is a good baseball team. Buck has it under control. I watched this year, there seems to be, the word I use is malaise. What do you see when you're watching them every day?
That's the shocking part is the mistakes mentally and physically. A lot more errors defensively and on the bases, a lot of mistakes that you didn't see with Buck. Now, I'm sure Buck did the same exact stuff in spring training in terms of drills and all that stuff, but you wonder maybe at some point if the message isn't getting across some way. It's mostly about the starting pitching, because you see now they finally started pitching a little bit and they've won 5 in a row. Maybe they get back into it, but they spent a ton of money, as we know, in the offseason, but a lot of it they had to replace or bring back their own players. So it wasn't like they went crazy on the free agent market, and as it turned out, they didn't get Correa. Who knows if that might have been a big thing.
So you're leading us right to it. Imagine, again, when the Padres got Xander Bogaerts, what was your reaction? It was like, what? Well, you know everything, but the rest of us went, Padres, Bogaerts? Wait, they've got a shortstop. They got 3 shortstops. What's happening? Imagine if the Mets had gotten Carlos Correa, and Correa was performing the way he is now, and they'd be on the hook for, 11 or 12 years. So, like, the money does funny things where you just go out, I don't know if it's just brazen greed, or is it bad to have so much available cash?
I mean, they're not getting much better performance than Correa at third base right now. I mean, I think Beatty's going to be a good player. Obviously, Escobar got off to a bad start. I mean, it is shocking to see this 101-win team. They basically, as John said, brought back the whole team, and they've added some really good rookies. Senga's been great, and obviously Alvarez has been one of their best players, incredible as a rookie. So it is stunning. I think more than malaise. I mean, I love that word. That's a good word. You use it often. Their pitching just hasn't been good. It's not just the starting pitching. The relief pitching hasn't been good, and I don't blame them. I know, obviously, we talked about this yesterday, but losing
I do blame them. I blame them a little bit.
Diaz,
I blame them. Right, it's not just Diaz, but they spend 10% of their payroll on bullpen. Other teams, Braves, Padres, spending 22%.
Right. Well, I'm not blaming the individual pitchers. Robertson's doing a good job. Ottavino's doing what he can. Raley's doing fine. They're too thin in the bullpen. And the fact that the rotation guys are averaging 5 innings a start, which isn't that unusual in today's game, but it's not good, especially when you have that thin bullpen. It's really the combination, starting pitching, relief pitching. That's really what's killed them.
When you talk about spending, they had to go out and get, I mean, it's crazy the money they spent on Scherzer and Verlander, but they had nobody coming in their farm system. And Cohen, he said repeatedly, he wants to build the farm system and do it the right way, but they had no pitching coming from their system. He really didn't have much of a choice but to go out and spend at the top of the market.
Let me ask you then, would they be better off if they had Correa now?
I'm not sure. I mean, Beatty hasn't been quite what I thought he'd be, but he looks like he's going to be a good player. I don't know if you want another 10, 11. They got a lot of long-term contracts.
See, I think it's too much. Like, I'm a big fan of Correa. He's not hitting now. I'm a big fan of Correa.
Well, he's been clutch on big spots.
Has he been?
In the postseason, postseason.
Oh, his past. I thought it was the signing of the offseason. But when 11 years, I was like, wait, you have Lindor. You have to, you know what I'm saying? You have to build somewhat organically. Like, we have our franchise shortstop. You believe in him or you don't. But you don't start messing around now. Correa's going to be there. It's kind of like the A-Rod Jeter thing. It becomes
good,
a mess.
And plus they do have good young position players, which you're starting to see. They got this other kid, Mauricio, they think is going to be there eventually. So I'm not sure it would have been the best thing to sign Correa.
I think it would have been, as it turns out, because Correa got off to a slow start, and there does seem to be some health issues. It could have been disastrous had they gone. And you'd be looking at 11 years of Correa.
Well,
and I love the guy, but 11 years of Correa, 10 years of Lindor.
I think it was 12.
What are you doing? Was it 12? All right, well, you know better. All right, so 12 years of him and 9 more years of Lindor.
Right.
And you'd be watching those guys age.
I love Correa. I mean, Correa's one of the best defensive players in the game, and he's also one of the, and again, I'm going to offend some of your watchers or viewers, he's one of the most clutch players in the game.
Oh, he can play, hit good pitching. You're right.
Right.
But imagine
I know he's off to a slow start, but I'm not going to judge a contract after a half a year. It's only a 6-year deal with Minnesota, so I'm not going to say they made a bad deal.
But it would have been a 12-year deal with the Mets. Yeah. That's I'm saying, that the money and having the ability, we can spend whatever we want. All right, let's just load up these All-Stars. I used to believe in that. Load up on All-Stars, but I think you have to observe your building process organically somewhat. And where you have we have a piece there, he stays, build around that.
Plus, I think you need, sometimes a team needs youth and you need energy. You need guys coming up from the system.
Right.
Alvarez has energized this team. He's really transformed the offense in some ways, giving them power at the catching position. They didn't have enough power in this lineup. And him and Beatty, and when Vientos was up, they seemed to rally around these kids. And, they were a veteran team, as you said. A lot of guys make a lot of money. Sometimes it's easy to fall into that malaise as TV
Yes,
well,
look, it was only a few years ago that it was Nimmo and McNeil who suddenly were the hard-charging kids making the veterans look bad. So you're right. But if you sign the superstars, you lose that flexibility, and then you don't bring a guy up and give him some playing time. Because you're like, no, we got an established star there.
I will say it has worked for Texas, and they have some young kids coming up. Young has been fantastic at third base, but, I mean, the heart of that team is Semien and Seager. They have two of the best middle infielders in the game.
There's room for
and
aircraft
that was
carriers.
A lot of money spent before they really thought they were going to be a contender, and it's worked out.
I think, they bought the two aircraft carriers in those spots, but now they didn't go out and say, hey, let's get Bogarts and Seager. You know what I'm saying? And let's get Correa and Seager and Semien. No, those are your aircraft carriers. You play with them.
Yeah, it's tough to match San Diego for spending.
It's everybody.
By the way, just to put it in perspective, that Mets, when they had worst team money could buy, $45 million was their team payroll, highest in the big leagues. Yeah. That's about what Scherzer and Verlander are each making.
Right, the highest payroll of all time, $45 million.
Yeah,
it seems quaint.
You're going to need a new title after this season's over.
That's second worst team money.
I don't think you're. Well, you should write a book anyway on this. But I don't think. At the end of the season, are the Mets making the playoffs? Because if they're not, that's a disaster.
They got a long climb here.
Yeah.
They got a really long climb. I need to see a lot more. Look, they put together a winning streak. The pitching, I do think the pitching is on the way to get better with Senga, and Carrasco may be reborn here. He figured out a new slider, but I wouldn't bet on them making the playoffs.
Can you just leave this graphic up for a second? Because I want you to just take in the numbers. The Mets are at 330. Look at the Dodgers at 220. It's a $100 million gap. 108, John would say. His Mets.
Because they're saving for Ohtani, right?
But I'm saying, but it's between 1 and 5.
I know.
And they were like, the Cardinals were at 15. They're like $200 million below. I thought this was dangerous for the game, and now I'm thinking, actually, no. Maybe if you have so much money, you don't spend it well because it doesn't seem to be working. I thought this would work.
And that's underselling it too, because he's paying $110 million in tax. And think of what they're willing to add now. They just got Gott, who's a solid reliever, and they're paying him basically.
They paid off Escobar's.
Right, so they had to add another $4.6 million to their payroll. With the tax, that's another $8 million. So they're,
he'll spend, man. He'll keep spending.
$8 million for half a year of Gott. Think about that. Yankees used to pay Rivera $16 million for the whole year. They're paying Gott that same rate, basically. He's not getting the money.
But he did say when he did that thing last week, the presser, he said he's not going to throw good money after bad. If this team isn't better at the deadline, he's not going to chase the turnaround and bring it and spend to be a buyer.
I thought that would happen. You would tire of spending. It's one thing, hey, we're a division lead, everything's going great, and I'm losing money.
Right.
Fine. But if you're 500 at best and you're spending that, it gets old quickly.